Hello, this is going to be a quick showcase of all of the current weapons in Scarlet Mod. So, we have, of course, a wide assortment of weapons here. We have, let's see, we have 22 here. First on the list is the White Rock, the weapon inspired by White Rock from Toho 7. It's a pretty basic weapon. This was found in ice chests. Next is the Bakaneko Boomerang, which, let me just, this is obtained in living wood chests, and it's also pretty basic. The Inaba Carrot Rifle shoots carrots that bounce off of enemies and tiles, and is found in ivy chests specifically. The Bake Staff, which is just a summon, can be dropped by the enemy of the same name. Next, the Caracasol, another early game summon weapon with added umbrella functionality while holding it. This is obtained through catching the Caracasa enemy. Caracasa. The Deep Cleaver, crafted when you strike enemies. This weapon adds a buff that gives you melee speed for every hit on the enemy. It only applies to this weapon. Occasionally it makes the enemy drop red hearts, and while the enemy is hit by this weapon, they have a buff that lowers their defense by like 10. As you can see, I'm slowly ramping up speed. Next is the Moon Rabbit Mallet. With the Moon Rabbit Mallet comes Moon Rabbit Dango, which is a consumable item. You can eat it to regain health, but it also acts as the ammo for the Moon Rabbit Mallet. Without the Dango in your inventory, it's a true melee weapon that does some decent damage. With the Dango in the inventory, it then throws the Dango at enemies, which gives the weapon some range. Also crafted. The Echophone is a magic weapon. Essentially, it's made from rich mahogany and some other jungle materials, so it's a jungle weapon. And when the projectiles hit their half-life or tile, they echo, and they bounce off tiles, and then after half-life they echo and retrace their exact steps. The Plenty Harvest Sickle works just like the Moon Rabbit Mallet. It's true melee without pumpkins in your inventory. And yeah. it throws pumpkins that split into several pieces. You may notice how the pieces are not hidden at middle dummy. There is a 10 frame pause before the pumpkin pieces can hit things. This makes it so that when you hit something with it, it doesn't instantly do an excruciating amount of damage. The Crimson Judas Wand, one of the end of pre-hard mode weapons. This is after Skeletron, and so it has two modes to it. It has Crimson Dead, this mode, which is two beams of fireballs that after a while fly towards the cursor, and then after another while do it again. This is better for crowd control, really. And then its other mode, which you switch about right-clicking, is Judas Kiss, which is icicles that, after a while, find a target and home, but they only define their target once. So you'll see that some of them miss. Next on the list is this next batch of weaponry. Lunatic Gun, the last of the pre-hard mode weapons. Pretty basic gun. Fires fast, has some inaccuracy, fires a spread of 4. However, if you hold shift, the bullets, after a while, just randomize their velocity entirely. I'm going to be completely honest and say I cannot think of a practical use for it. But it's there. If you do find a practical use, epic. Start in the hard mode batch. Autumn Wind. While holding this weapon, you go significantly faster. While holding shift, the speed boost slows. I will just... yeah, it slows, so... And when you shoot, it's just free bursts of waves. Next is the Crazy Torch. Crazy Torch is a very rare chance drop by clowns, because it's just nuts. See, the thing with the Crazy Torch is it doesn't really work with any setup. Every time you use it, it becomes a different class. The way it fires becomes different, and it consumes a different amount of mana. It is a wild card in terms of weapons. This could either it strays the line of being busted or really underpowered because it just doesn't work with anything, which is the point. The Enchanted Biwa is 5 lines. You have your musical scale, and each can drop a note. Jeweled Branch of Horai, intended to be purely support weapon. Each projectile, it has 6 projectiles. The red heals the player for 5. The yellow inflicts Ichor. The green inflicts Cursed Flames. The blue inflicts Frostburn. The purple inflicts Shadow Flame. And the pink inflicts Confused. However, should it hit an NPC that is immune to one of those debuffs, that projectile triples its damage. There was a bug, same day this was made, called the overcompensation bug, where every time it would hit something, it would continue to triple its damage, leading to it dealing cool 232,000 damage. So yeah. The Thunder Drum. This is a drop from Angry Nimbuses after Palantera has been killed. It is by far one of the most powerful weapons in the mod. It also has this little quirk. It is exceptionally good for crowd control, especially in enclosed spaces. As it is based off of Raiko Horikawa, the idea was that in an enclosed space it would be more powerful because the acoustics are better. So being a sound-based weapon, that's why the electric rhythm projectiles bounce. Sukuya's Silver Blade, the first weapon added into the mod, was added a very long time ago, and as such is not on the same level as any of the new content. It is this. It is simply this. The Great Harvest Scythe, the upgrade to the Plenty Harvest's sickle. This has 3 pumpkins, and those pumpkins can explode into bigger pumpkin pieces, or the little pumpkins that the Plenty Harvest froze, which leads to more pieces. This is the weapon that made me consider maybe making the Dichromatic Lotus Butterfly disable certain weapons as to not hit the projectile limit. The Goyuku Utensil. A post-Plantera spear. It's pretty basic. However, when it hits something, it heals the player for 20% of their health. Which means if you dare to get up close to post-Plantera bosses and such, this weapon is excellent for recovering your HP. The Shikigami's Chakram, an upgrade to the Bakaneko Boomerang, is essentially support melee. Throws this, and that stays on the enemy for a while, and has no problem catching up to most enemies. And the last 2 weapons are the Divine Gohei, which is the weapon drop from the Dichromatic Lotus Butterfly. It has 2 modes. Homin Amulet, 4 Homin projectiles, and Persuasion Needle, which does more damage. You have to hold shift to switch between the 2 shot types. And then finally, the Leviathan, a laser beam that stretches out to the pointer and hits everything inside of it. This is the only post-Lunatic Cultist weapon in the mod so far. That is every weapon in Scarlet Mod to date. Honorable mention goes to the Picade, which has the flail right-click function. However, that is intended as a mining tool, as it blows up tiles in a small radius. And yeah, there you have it.